For you?
Yeah, where to go? Probably when I was a year.
Yeah.
I gotta get. Follow up on.
Okay, I'll back that mom down. You make some news.
Yeah. My goodness. We had.
Yeah.
There you go, that's the one to you.
Yes, I need to.
It could have been, you might have been serious.
And my husband's so happy. Restraint and oh. Oh, yeah, because I left my regular one at my son's car. We come to the town, so I have to. So.
How would it be 27th we will?
Yeah, I was with them all week, but then we're Florida.
Oh, that's just good, so. The kids never stop.
Yeah.
Exhausting. The first Christmas.
Yeah.
You want this house?
It is 7:00. I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order. If we could start with a moment of silence, please. And if we can stand for the pledge of allegiance. Anybody got a pen? If Kevin is going to prepare.
I know. It does feel off. That almost has to be.
I know.
Here we are. Buffalo. That was. Oh, wait, this is, oh, it's 25% off. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what it was. Did I use it for?
I do think I have it.
Oh, they're down. Or. There we go. Man, it out.
Or was that our voice hats on it?
Thanks.
I.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, everybody, welcome back to Chamber. It's been over 6 or 7 months since we've been here, so I'm happy to be back in our regular space. As a reminder, if you happen to have a phone on you, please make sure that it's off or on silence. City Clerk Domingo, you'll take roll call for us, please.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Reed. Stewart. Ross.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Council members, please make sure that your microphone light is green in front of you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? So to begin our evening, I will read a proclamation for the Albion Area Philanthropic Women. This was actually read on December 9th at the last meeting that the Albion Area Philanthropic Women held. And a lot of great things happened on that day. So I will go ahead and read the proclamation. City of Albion proclamation honoring Albion Area Philanthropic Women. Whereas in 2007, a dedicated group of community-minded women came together with a shared vision to uplift, empower, and strengthen our community through charitable giving. And whereas since its founding, this remarkable philanthropic organization has continually demonstrated an unwavering commitment to service, generosity, and collective impact. And whereas on December 9th, 2025, this organization will reach an extraordinary milestone of $750,000 in total giving. A testament to its tireless dedication and the generosity of its members over the past 18 years. And whereas this milestone not only reflects significant financial contributions, but also represents the spirit of collaboration, hope, and shared responsibility that has defined the organization since its inception. And whereas the positive impact of this philanthropic group has resonated across our community, leaving a lasting legacy of service and setting an inspiring example for future generations. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Victoria Garcia Snyder, Mayor of Albion and a proud member of the AAPW, join with the members of City Council and the citizens of Albion to celebrate the extraordinary contributions of this organization and its members, whose dedication continues to enrich and strengthen our community. So I believe I have a few members from our Albion Philanthropic Women's Organization who would like to receive this proclamation.
Mayor, I go.
Oh, okay, so if we want to come over this way.
Yeah.
And who wants to receive the proclamation?
Nancy.
No.
Marsha, I need it. Marsha, I need
Okay,
it.
ladies, we are not shy women, come on, let's go. Come on in, come on in. I'll take it back. Oh, and.
Oh.
Take it. You're a member, you're in. Okay.
Thank you.
Lady, we are not sit down yet, if you would take the podium to kind of give some examples of what the donations have gone towards over the past few years, what type of impact this has had on our community. I'm sure our people here that are listening like to hear where our funds have gone. I can start. Go ahead.
We started in 2007, I believe, with a group of 60. And it was really very random, open to any woman in the community, age, whatever, doesn't matter. Through the years, Kelly, we have supported so many different groups, many in the schools, many in the city, many in recreation. Come help.
Sheridan Township
Yeah.
for the Jaws Life.
American Legion.
American Legion has several times, the library several times. But the real power of the group is in the numbers. We each write a check for $100 4 times a year. And you can do that as an individual, but the impact of 10,000 is far greater than the impact of 100 here and 100 there. At our last meeting, the money went to the American Legion. And people come and make a presentation. It's very informal, but yet we have our, I guess, their rules. And we also collected at the last meeting, Homestead donated the lunch. So instead of paying for the lunch that day, everybody used that money and that went to the community table for their Christmas. And then we also collected money for the project at Harriet, right? And so, pass the hat. So it impacted
$400.
So we've impacted in big ways, in small ways, and it's many, many people. It's a very representative group of the community. And it's wonderful to see, I think, how people feel about being part of a group that knows and recognizes that they're making a difference. So, any questions? Don't promise I can answer them, but try.
I'd like to add, that's one of the wonderful things of our community of Albion. We have so many nonprofits in and around Albion that need help. And this group, over the past several years, have been able to support all of our local nonprofits in one way or another. When I see the collective group of women who come to our meetings, it is very diverse. So you can't say it's just one specific population. It's women all across the board in our community who come together and want to do good.
It is, and it also, interestingly, we have, I'm not sure how many, but we have a number of women who have left the community that continue to be involved and send their donations each year. And we have generations also, children that went through the schools here that have moved on and gone elsewhere whose parents are involved. And they continue to be involved. So it's a way of keeping people connected that have left for a variety of different reasons. And we would encourage anybody who's interested to come and join us and just see what it's all about. We would welcome anyone.
And I think this type of organization is very unique because Albion, just a small little town in the middle of Michigan, has received some great news attention because of what we've been able to do. And Marcia, I know that you've been interviewed for an article recently in how unique the impact that we're able to do in such a small community.
And other communities have tried, excuse me, to copy it and for some reason haven't been as effective as we have. And I'm not really sure why that is, but I think it's a testament to the people who are here. And it was the brainchild of Maggie Conkle. And then Kathy Campbell, as you know, has many tentacles out there, and she was the one who helped to draw in a lot of people at the beginning. And then it has just continued to grow from there.
I will say it's because of you ladies in your generation, you have inspired the younger generation of women in our community to follow in your footsteps, and that's why I've done it.
Well, that's good to know. That's the hope.
I mean, you women had such an impact on so many kids because you were all educators. And there's many of us who sit here who've been taught by you, who've been in, positions where we can now follow your footsteps. And so I think that's the reason why our little group is so effective.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. I was thinking of two other organizations, just as I looked around the table, Lynn, Holland Park is something that we funded. And I know CJ is on the board of the Historical Society. We've given money to Historical Society. So there's hardly, any organization in town or anything that you would be involved in that hasn't at some point received funding, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I will turn the floor over to Chief Phipps.
Good evening, council, mayor, city manager, how's everybody doing? So happy new year, excited to be back in this building, almost drove to the high school. Today I want to introduce our newest public safety officer, Rylan Ducheney. He's a Marshall High School graduate in 2021. We hired Rylan in summer, July, August this year. He went through Kellogg Community College's Police Academy, graduated in mid-December. And he's already in phase 1 of our FTO process. He was a contractor here in the city, working with his dad and then his own business, correct? And dad. So really good with his hands, really good building things. Had his feet already in the community and he liked us so much that he wanted to work here, which we are very thankful and appreciative of. So he becomes our 18th sworn officer. So once he finishes his field training, there's 3 parts. He'll be assigned a shift over some point this summer, and then he'll do the fire academy in this fall, sometime in October. But I want to take this time to introduce him, as we have with all the other new hires we have, and right now we're at 18, so that's technically just 1 short, and it's pretty good, and that's what I was hoping for. It's what every department is striving for. So very happy, very thankful. Rylan's family's also here, and I also want to thank you for and for everything that they're gonna be subjected to, the long hours that we work in 3rd shift and day shift in court and overtime, and it takes family really everybody on the same page to do this job, and I cannot speak enough on our families and how much they sacrifice in their own right for us to do this job. So thank you.
Officer, do you would like to come forward and give us a little information about yourself?
Yeah, what would you like to know?
Well, the name of your wife and age of your daughter, where you live.
My wife Michaela and my daughter Presley, she's just over 2 years old. I grew up north of Marshall and now I live right in Marengo Township, technically in Albion.
Great.
And your 2 daughters.
And another one.
It's one that's
Welcome now. Welcome now. Pleasure.
Yeah, I'm honored for the opportunity.
We are happy to have you on our team.
Very much.
Thank
you.
Alright, public comments. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item, you may do so at this time. Just come forward, give us your name and address, and 3 minutes is yours. Seeing no movement, we will move on. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items?
So moved.
Support. In your packet, we have our December 15th regular minutes. Any questions, comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve of council members attending our 26th GAPCON conference?
So moved. Support.
Are there any members who would be interested in attending this conference in March? Councilman Reed, Councilman Donovan Williams. How many did we send last time, do you remember?
It was 3. I thought we saw, I thought we sent 2 last week.
Alright, do you be here from Jen?
And he's in Raw.
Is it?
I thought he was hired.
I don't remember what that could be. Alright, so Then we have motion on the table to have Councilwoman Reed, Councilman Williams, Councilwoman Davis to attend CAPCON. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go. Next is our discussion on council rules. In your packets, we have our council rules of procedure. This was brought forth by Councilwoman Davis. Would you like to let public know why you asked for this to come forth?
Yes. It was refreshing to review the rules again, but I recently attended other council meetings in the county. And I noticed that the closed session, and this is for discussion, this meeting. The closed session was closer to the end of the agenda rather than having the audience sit through our closed session, that sometimes that is irrelevant to the business that has been discussed or that will be discussed. So I was making the recommendation that maybe we can consider changing our closed session to near the end of the agenda. But in order to do that, we have to look at the council rules. And so this is a court discussion with council members to be more considerate of our audience, rather than having them sit through the entire meeting and coming back after the closed session to handle business. And if there is business and the closed session is near the end, we can move for that meeting to suspend the rules, to have, to change the order of business for that particular meeting if necessary.
Well, Attorney Harkness, could we just amend the agenda template permanently to allow, if we do need a closed session, to have it closer to the end?
Yeah, so, we would need to amend rule 10 of the council rules that sets the template for regular meetings, special meetings. It wouldn't affect study sessions, and so we could move the closed session towards the end of the meeting. One thing I said to Councilman Davis is, you know, there are, not every time, but there are some circumstances when we discuss something in closed session and then we need to have an action item based on the conversation in closed session, so. I mean, we could do it one of two ways. You could, for that meeting, you know, add something after the closed session or move the closed session up for that meeting, or maybe we just add a placeholder for action items following the closed session, like additional action items, and you treat it just like you do a closed session meeting. If we don't have a closed session, you just skip it, just like if we have a closed session that doesn't require action, you just skip that second action item section. So in terms of procedure to amend it, the way that the council rules provide, and I think it's rule 20, we need to introduce this change by resolution, and then vote on it at the meeting after that.
I would be in favor of that, just having a placeholder after that. Moving it permanently, having a placeholder. So I got, if anybody has opinions, Councilman Williams?
Yeah, just got a question. So let's utilize our current agenda packet. So right now, the closed session is item number 9. Going forward, we take this down to where the future agenda items are, so it'll be right before that. And then if we needed to vote on whatever we discussed in the closed session, we'd have the placeholder underneath the closed session section.
And probably what I would do is move it after your second public comments, because otherwise the public's gonna be waiting.
Yeah.
To do public comment after the closed session. So I would put it, I would probably put it
Right before the city manager.
right before the city manager's report. And then have an action item placeholder after that. The idea is to avoid the public having to sit through what you know, in some circumstances, it might be a 10-minute closed session, where we've had closed sessions that take almost an hour.
Yeah, you did that.
So. But it's a relatively simple change, and if council's in favor of that, we can draft the amended. Council rules, and then we'll bring a resolution. It's a little bit wonky in that the council rule amendment procedure is almost like an ordinance in now. It's done by resolution, but it's introduced at one meeting and then it's officially voted on and adopted.
So can we consider this meeting the meeting where we introduced it?
No, because we'd have to have a resolution, so we'll bring the resolution to the next meeting for its introduction, and then you can approve it at your first meeting in February.
Sounds fair.
Thank you, yeah, just to be considered.
I like it.
Any other comments on that item? Good. Next is our discussion on the rental certification fees. Amanda?
Permission to approach podium. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. This was placed on the agenda, this issue, at the request of the city administration. And after talking to our housing director, who I'd like to introduce, Ms. Anna Kemp of the Albion Public Housing Commission. As you know, the Housing Commission was created by this body a number of years ago for the purpose of developing low to moderate income housing for our citizens. And Anna has done an excellent job of running that. We've come into a little bit of a quandary in that we have Safe Build, who is our designated inspectors. And right now, we have a number of rental units in our community, and let me go over some statistics. Right now, the Albion Housing Commission has 220 units. Altogether, when we take a look at our larger units, we have about 656 that are currently registered, and we feel that there's probably somewhere, and this is mostly on the private side, probably 150, maybe 300 units that still aren't registered. And that has to be done by, I believe, April 1st. So one of the things that we were looking at is that unlike some of the other public housing units, the Albion Housing Commission receives a lot of its money, and the buildings were built using housing and urban development money, HUD. And as such, HUD controls their rules. The rules is that they put in place a income level, which is based on what people pay. Unlike in the private sector, where there are more market rates established, in this particular case, she is somewhat hindered that they have a set budget with income coming in that is set by the government. There's no more income or revenue. That being said, under our housing ordinance, we have a requirement where each rental unit has to be inspected, has to be registered and inspected. So if we pull up some numbers here, if we were to continue imposing the $95 of inspections, then that's what it costs per unit, $95. We would come up with a figure of $19,800, almost $20,000. That is a significant income or revenue impact on the public's monies in their budget. I've asked Anna to come up and perhaps give enlightened counsel. The administration is all about trying to find adequate housing, and I think Anna does a good job, her and the commission, of doing that at her facilities. However,
we're at a dilemma in that the ordinance mandates that not only do they be registered at a fee of $35 per unit, but also the inspection of $95. So would you just tell council what the impact is in your operations?
Again, as Mr. Terry has stated, HUD sets our income limits and also our limits for the rent that we could charge our tenants, whereas in the public sector, private landlords are able to pass that amount on to their tenants. So we feel that this will be a huge hindrance. The 19,000 is $20,000. We're already operating at a deficit. My 5-year budget has already been passed, and of course, we did not include any significant money for Safe Build to complete the inspections. And just to give you a little history, our units are inspected annually, sometimes biannually. We are actually getting prepared for a HUD inspection on January 19th of this year. So we're working diligently and quite hard to get these units up to par. And then, of course, when you have disgruntled tenants, they leave your units, in a disarray. There's damages that we have to pay for that sometimes are not collectible. And the only way that we can stop them from getting assistance otherwise is through credit bureau or either our HUD website. So a lot of times I think last year we wrote off in excess of $90,000 that is not collectible. So we're just looking for a solution from the city in support of the Housing Commission being exempt from this the Safe Build inspections. Okay.
So Mayor and Council, the administration has requested homes.
I beg your pardon, I'm sorry. Ms. Kemp, thank you for coming this evening. What do other communities that also have rent certification, what do they do in these circumstances? Do you know?
I do not.
Jackson.
Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, Jackson has a recertification program, but they do not pay, if I'm not mistaken.
They have various different types of public housing. Some of it's totally low to moderate income set by HUD standards, others just by MSHDA standards. We did call Jackson to find out, and we did that in the fall. They do have an inspection, they do charge, but it was unclear whether or not they charge per unit as opposed to complex. They've had a little bit of turnover there, and so the person I talked to was uncertain about that. I called HUD to find out. HUD's requirements are that they are to have an inspection completed on each unit every 3 years. Now, as Ann had indicated, they're due for some inspections, maybe not the entire 220, but at least they're lined up to have some inspections done this year. When I had talked to the HUD representative, it was at the time when Dodge they were getting rid of cutting back. I called the gentleman at the Detroit office and I said, I'm surprised somebody answered the phone, and he says, I am too. So that's what we're dealing with here. So I wanted to, every community is different. We're not unique. I think that we do have to keep some safeguards in place that allow, because we want our citizens to be safe. However, those are fixed units that have been here a very long time. We don't have turnover with Anna. We know that those apartments are being overseen every day. So this makes it a unique situation. However, we still do not want to forego the safety of our citizens. So
Mayor Pro Tem French.
Thank you, Mayor. So it seems to me that there's a simple solution in that, unlike privately held housing units that are owned by private citizens, HUD has an inspection program already in place. So to my way of thinking, this is double dipping, right? HUD is already getting inspected every 2 or 3 years, whatever. And then we're gonna charge them again. That seems inappropriate, so I would. It might be as simple as saying that with the, for those apartment units that are owned federally, they're already on an inspection schedule. So we don't need to charge them for inspections, whereas privately held units, if aren't on a regular inspection schedule, they do.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem French, I would normally agree with that, but I guess I have some other questions for Ms. Kemp along the lines of these, the details of these inspections. I know that the site-built inspections are quite thorough, and quite broad. And I would be curious to know what the comparison is between a safe-built inspection and, a housing and urban development inspection, and to see how closely related they are. What I am concerned about is the perceived double standard between the inspection level at the private sector and the inspection level at the federal level. So that would be my concern.
And well noted, one of the feelings that Ann and I have talked about this. Especially the mechanical, electrical and plumbing, whenever we've come to an agreement that anything that requires an appliance hookup with gas, a plumbing issue, an electrical issue, which anything that has to have a permit has to have an inspection. That we're in agreement on that has to take place. And it has to be done by a licensed contractor. But we just have to protect the health and safety of all of our residents, so I don't think there's any argument there. I guess at this point. Your point is well taken, Councilman French. I would ask that the administration be allowed to come up with some language, maybe some ideas that we could bring back to council. That would, as it was put to me today, to differentiate perhaps a little bit different between the public housing that Ann represents and as opposed to the other rentals that might be in the community. Not that one is more or less important than the other. It's just that we're in a unique situation where we have 220 units that it is almost $20,000 under a normal circumstance to inspect. That, perhaps we can talk to Safeville. Is there any way that we can have a reduced rate or something along those lines? I think that that's important too. But at this point, we're asking for a little bit of differentiation between the public housing that we created by ordinance as opposed to the others. And so we're seeking permission.
And you said we have an upcoming inspection. Do you
Yes.
know how many units will be inspected at that time?
The computer randomly picks the units, so around 30 units. 30 to 40 units will be inspected.
Is that typical for like an on-site inspection day?
Yes.
And you said that happens once a year or?
No, we inspect. We have our own in-house inspection and that happens annually, sometimes biannually. The HUD comes out 2 to 3 times a year, depending on your scores,
So with the HUD inspection,
which is scheduled for January 19th.
okay, so with that inspection date, is that still a 30?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was trying to figure out when you said you had your own inspectors. That's different from the HUD
Yes,
inspectors.
ma'am.
Okay, so when HUD comes out, they're gonna do 30 or so
Units.
units.
Yes.
How often do they come back again?
It depends on if we fail, they'll be back next year. But if we pass, it's 2 to 3 years, depending on the administration.
So we have 220 units currently,
Yes,
Random.
and
but
they're
they're
being
only gonna do 30,
approximately 30.
and that's what I was trying to figure out, like, they'll do 30 and then when will they come back again?
If we pass, they'll be back within 2 to 3 years.
Okay,
If we fail the inspection, they'll be back next year.
okay,
So the loophole,
go ahead.
the loophole is that they're not inspecting 220 units, they're randomly picking
They randomly pick,
34.
yes.
Yeah.
Under our
Less than
ordinance,
portion of the total units.
Right.
and under our ordinance, technically, it's all units within a year.
Right.
That's where the 19,800 comes from. That would be annually.
Every 3 years.
Oh, you're right, you're correct, every 3 years.
I know that this is these are older units and the upkeep and things like that. And the tenants, of course. How do we usually fare when we have these regular HUD inspections in terms of the score?
Our last inspection, I think, was a 78.
Okay,
So,
is that passing?
That is passing,
As is passed.
it's passing, yeah.
I'm certainly, and I don't think we even, I don't think we really discuss housing units, and the extra cost to, in terms of inspection. So this is something for consideration, and I think leaving it to the two of you to come up with a plan of action, so to speak, is going to be very much needed. And I am in favor, but thank you for bringing this to our attention.
And we did mention that when this was put in place, that we were not at the table, because I think ultimately we do have the most units in the,
Precisely.
in the city of Albion.
And $20,000 out of your budget is.
It's a lot, and I would like to see that money go back into the infrastructure versus, paying for housing expenses.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. I would also like to piggyback off of what she said. I think this is one of the pain points that we didn't necessarily factor in when we were going through the rental certification process. There's limitations in the Albion Housing Commission's ability to raise rent, unlike the private sector, where they pass on any additional costs to the tenants, whereas they're limited and they can't do that. So I definitely appreciate us having this conversation, Doug. I appreciate you taking the time out to give this some consideration and some actual thought, because this is something that we haven't overlooked during the planning process of the rental certification as a whole. So like I said, again, this is one of those pain points that we just bumped up against, and hopefully we can resolve this issue in a good way that's beneficial to the city and the residents as well.
So it's our intent, Ann and I will work on some sample language, we will pass it on to Colin. Obviously with Elizabeth Loomis, our code enforcement officer, we need her input just as much as, if not everybody's. And so we'll take everybody's opinions and try to blend ordinance for your review.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2026-01 to amend chapter 22, article 6?
Support.
Is there darkness?
So the version of this ordinance that you should be looking at is the one that was placed on your desk for tonight. There were changes that were requested by the finance department after we had already submitted it for the packet publication. This amends the existing adult use marijuana ordinance. We had some issues come up with these facilities lately. Issues that are basically necessitating greater oversight. One example in particular is public safety was called to a facility for an issue unrelated to their licensing, but when they were there, they discovered that they haven't had a municipal license in almost a year. And yet they were operating. And then, I was speaking with the clerk, it's amazing. Some of these facilities kind of play dumb, like, oh, you didn't know. And it's like, you knew, every year you're supposed to do this. So in the first section in section 226, we just spelled out very clearly right at the top. A marijuana establishment shall not operate in the city without a valid municipal license. So that there's no question about that. That was the only change we made to that section. In section 227 on page 7. One of the other issues that has come up is many of these facilities are operating, but they're not registering with the income tax department to do employee withholding. And so now we've made that a requirement on number 8 that they provide proof that they've registered the establishment with the city's income tax department. So now they'll be required to do their withholding for their employees and all the filings that accompany that requirement. Lastly is section 244. And this was language that we adapted from another municipality that basically says, as a condition of getting their municipal license, or that they're leasing the property to have a marijuana establishment, constitutes consent by the applicant and all the employees, managers and owners, et cetera, to permit the city to conduct routine inspections of the facility to ensure compliance with this ordinance, any other applicable law or regulation. And it includes things such as checking their security cameras for the recordings and things like that. The purpose behind that one is we had another facility earlier this year. And it was actually not discovered by us, it was discovered by an inspection by the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, that people were actually living in one of the grow operations. And when I spoke to the CRA inspector, aside from people living there, the conditions in the facility were so atrocious. They had drop ceiling tiles that were in there, and everyone's familiar with drop ceiling tiles. They're just a standard kind of whitish gray ceiling tiles. These things were jet black from black mold. I mean, it was disgusting. And so this just gives the city greater oversight. The process that we've set up is, if we find out that they're operating without a valid municipal license, and then they're deemed to be a public nuisance, and we'll give them a notice that they need to cease and desist operations until they acquire a municipal license. And if they refuse to comply, and by the way, we serve that notice by first class mail and by either posting or personal service. And if they fail to comply, we can essentially shutter the establishment until they do comply.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Attorney Harkness, were these examples that you brought up to us this evening, were they found through regulatory inspections, or were they found through law enforcement intervention?
So the one I was just discussing with the black mold and the people that were living in there was a routine inspection by the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, and they brought it to our attention. And after they brought it to our attention, we took steps to revoke their local licenses. We so the clerk and I and the attorney for the facility had an administrative hearing where we revoked their local licenses. The more recent one, where they were operating without a license, was discovered as a result of a call for service to the Public Safety Department. I can't tell you what the basis for the call for service was. Chief Phipps might be able to tell you, but
Civil issue
oh,
amongst the parties involved.
so it wasn't specific to their license, but when they were there, they discovered they hadn't had a license since, I think, December 24.
Yeah, so we got dispatched there for a civil issue, and then once we're there, I was there, other officers were there, Detective Lazarus was there, and we all looked at each other. I was like, "How do you think this place is registered?" And then we looked on the wall and saw the certificate, and then realized the expiration date was well over a year. So that's how that came about. But we certainly appreciate we're trained hard to sit on this, because this is a lot of people involved in this business. There's just too many hands in the jar, and everybody ends up pointing the finger at everybody else, blaming their pointing fingers, putting the responsibility on everywhere else, and nobody's having to answer to any of the laws that are on the books, or just like in any other crime we deal with. They spend more time trying to find the loopholes than they do just going through proper channels, so. But yeah, it was a civil issue that we got dispatched to, and then we did what we had to do from there.
Okay, and what department on the municipal level is responsible for the inspecting and enforcing the regulations set forth by the municipality?
So when they send in an application, it goes through a departmental review of public safety, finance, my office, I think code enforcement to a certain extent. And then they already have to have pre-qualification from CRA. In terms of actual inspections of the physical facility, it's pretty much complaint based unless we see something in the materials that gives us a red flag to do inspection.
We have to do an initial one, our department does personally. When somebody opens, we have to physically inspect it ourselves.
But there must have been obviously some significant length of time between the inspection of this place with the black hole, for example, and then the time that was discovered. Right? And one of my concerns is that these aren't barber shops or flower shops. These are controlled substances, right? So I think it's very important for us to really take a jaundiced eye at the oversight of these in our city, just to make sure that, the health of our community, not from just a safety standpoint, but certainly from a product, since these are illegal things, right?
Which they are an industrial park, which I believe we designated a specific area for it.
They're in an overlay district. We created overlay districts for the facilities, and basically there's one overlay district, and it's basically the entirety of the industrial park.
So in there, unless you know it's there, you could drive by and not know that it's a grow facility.
Well,
For adult use.
The city knows, and
The city knows,
we
yes.
need to make sure we're on top of it, so that we don't have facilities like that. I think we're gonna have them, they need to be clean, held up to high standards, the highest.
Well, and so the enforcement provision that we're adding here gives all of the city departments the ability to do more inspections basically as the city deems appropriate and take additional enforcement action. So if we even have a suspicion that something's going on, we can go in as a condition of them having a license and inspect, and if we discover something, we can bring it into compliance. In the case that we're just talking about, I mean, what the action we took is we sent them an immediate cease and desist letter, told them they needed to stop operating until they obtained a valid municipal license, and I notified the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, who informed me that they had also let their state license lapse and were in the process of getting their state license renewed. So, but Chief Phipps is right, a lot of these facilities spend more time trying to skirt the requirements than just, giving us what we need, so. But I think this ordinance goes a long way to put us in a better position to address those issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, compliments.
How many facilities do we have in the Alvin area in the?
Facilities or licenses?
Well,
So. One that's operating. I guess only one that's currently operating.
okay.
Dude, you got the one we just closed. Okay. That's probably the one we were just talking about where CRA pulled their license, there was only one.
And we have, what's the difference between license and the facility?
So a facility can have multiple licenses, so number one, they can have multiple grow licenses in the same location. They generally, this facility has a grow license and a processor license. Under the current ordinance for adult use, we only allow growers and processors to operate in the city. We don't allow any of the other facilities like secure transporters or retailers or anything like that.
There's a lot of steps to it. But yeah, I think across the state, everybody's learning, as we go, since this was so recently done.
The industry is contracting a little bit. I mean, it was contracting, I think, just because of oversaturation of facilities. It's probably gonna contract even more because the excise tax was just upheld, so it's gonna have another 20+%,
24%.
24% excise tax on top of it. But I mean, my concern is, like the facility we're talking about here, we're dealing with we want verification that we've got insurance, and you know, we've already gone through 3 rounds of emails between my office and the clerk's office at the facility, like, city needs to be an additional insured. Here you go, nope, you still don't have it right, here you go, nope, still not on there, you know, it's just. Round and round we go, so, but like I said, I think this ordinance gives us more oversight, or allows public safety, code enforcement to go in and look at what they need to look at. Cause I share Councilman Frost's concerns about, you know, it's about protection of the public, whether we're talking about, you know, people living in this facility or people using the product, either way. It needs to be above board.
Any questions for either Attorney Hartness or Chief Debs?
Councilmember Reed. Yes. Ross,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yeah.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Future agenda items. Any items council will see, Attorney Hartness?
The resolution from the council rules.
Anything else, any other items? Public comments, if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council, you may do so at this time. Just come forth, give us your name and address, and 3 minutes is yours.
Juanita Solis Kidder, 1211 Edward Street. It's so nice to be here. To be able to speak into the light, and for the people at home to listen, and for us that are in the audience to hear what is being said. So it's really nice. I just want to make people aware of a couple of things that are going on. Tomorrow night at the museum between 5 and 7, we have the 12th night, it's on the 6th, 12th night celebration. So there will be waffle that won't punch, and sweets, and the bell choir from the First Presbyterian Church in Homer will have a performance at 6. So I just encourage people to go and enjoy the evening and the last day of the Christmas season. Also, as you know, might not know, but it's just a little reminder, we have Men Who Cook coming up, already thinking about it, February 8th. So we'll be sending out the emails for the men that want to cook, and we'll have tickets, and it's just a big community event for everybody to enjoy. And thank you to the city for all the work that they're doing with the streets and decorations, taking them down, and especially when you have to work in such extreme conditions. It's awesome. I mean, I feel for them, but we appreciate what they do. Thank you.
Yes.
And
And yes, she did beat me to it. Yeah, absolutely, I know, absolutely, she was quick to the trigger, wasn't she? Absolutely. Well, council members, Madam Mayor, Interim City Manager Terry, Clerk Domingo, Attorney Harkness, people watching and people in the gallery, good evening, Gary Tompkins, your County Commissioner. Happy New Year, everybody. Great to see each and every one of you. I'm already at 1 minute, 11 seconds, man, it's tough right now. You got me already on that, so I was talk. Yeah, exactly. Great to see each one of you. Just a couple things in the county I want to talk to you about. First and foremost, we did schedule our organizational meeting for January 15th. We will be electing a vice chair at that meeting. The vice chair goes on 1-year intervals. Our chairman is a 2-year interval, so there'll just be one vice chair election to be had. Please come over and see us on January 15th. We'd love to have you. We have lots of fun. Kinda, I guess, if you will, but it's a great time. And there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First and foremost, recently we approved the reappointment of Vivian Davis to the Calhoun County Board of Public Health. And Vivian, you also assumed the position of vice chair, did you not? January 1st, congratulations, absolutely. We also reappointed Al Smith to the County Veterans Affairs Committee, and finally we reappointed Greg Strand to the County Parks and Recreation Committee. And the reason why I emphasize those is because it's wonderful the fact that we have residents on the east side of Calhoun County, specifically in the 7th district, that are participatory
in those committees because we essentially have yet another layer of a voice to be had, which is great because the county is vast certainly. And we're always trying to fight the west side, if you will, to have more voice, right? And it's just great to see residents out and encourage anybody that wants to become involved to take a look at those vacancies that are available on the boards and committees because it is a great way to really have an influence and effect on a multitude of things. And certainly you have a lot of power in terms of recommending things to the County Board of Commission as we look at final decisions to be made. So thank you all for that first and foremost. Real quickly, I want to take the opportunity to and wish Andy French a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. French, Councilor French. I'm gonna take that opportunity. You don't see it and you just think I forget. I'm gonna forget. I don't forget, absolutely. And then also too, real quickly to the new public safety officer, congratulations, sir. We certainly appreciate it for your willingness to serve and protect, and it really truly is appreciated. Thank you very much. And then real quickly, for those of you that don't get my newsletter, you got to get my newsletter because I updated it and it's looking better than ever. Exactly, it's more clear, it's more readable. I don't got my face on every page, which is always good. I had somebody tell me that you got to take your face off every page, so I did that.
Still small.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know, I'm working on it. But in the newsletter, it gives you an opportunity to know what's going on in our district here in the 7th district, as well as Calhoun County. Take an opportunity to do that because I really feel as somebody who represents each and every one of you, I want to make sure that you're getting the most and best information that's possible. I'll give it to you straight up and you guys can make your own decisions. And plus it gives you an opportunity, you have my email and my phone number and you can call me and yell at me if you'd like to. So I'm always willing to do that too as well. So, but no, it is great to be back to see you folks. 2025 has been full of family and trying to get everything arranged back, kind of getting back into the swing of things. In 2026, I'm looking for a great year. So with that being said, unless there's any questions or comments, happy new year, everybody. It's great to see you folks again and look forward to seeing you around again. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Ronnie Sims, 17 West Erie Street here in Albion. I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone. And it is great to be back in the chamber. I went to the high school tonight, so said they're not here. I'm going down. So anyway, just wanted to remind everyone or let everyone else know who that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Dinner will be held on the 16th of this month. Let me make sure that's correct. And it's going to be on the 19th, January 19th at the Opportunity High School. The doors will open up at 5:30. There will be booths and information and then dinner, and then there'll be a program. So everyone is invited. The next week on the 26th, the Albion College will be having the convocation, and that will be at the Bone Theater. And that will be held at 7:00 p.m. The speaker that they're inviting, they will have a little reception like an hour before that, but everyone else is invited also for the Albion convocation that's being sponsored by Albion College. Thank you.
Anybody else like to stand and address council? Seeing no movement, city manager report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, first of all, I'd like to have Director Kern impart some happy news. Go ahead, thanks, come on up and.
Face the music. Even made it to a first one council meeting though.
Happy news, that should be interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
Happy news. Oh.
So, I'm gonna kind of expound on, give you an update of the email I sent you all about our plow trucks. We have 4 large plow trucks for the city. 2 of them have salters on the back. Those 2 that have the salters on the back, military trucks that we got through public safety, through the military program, that we got for free. So, not so free anymore. One of them had to be towed from Albion College where it broke down to TNA Diesel. And today the owner of TNA Diesel pronounced it. She's gone. So We also had another orange plow truck go down New Year's Day, so 3 out of 4 plow trucks were gone. So I got a hold of the county and the state and told them kind of where we were at, so they're willing to help out as much as they can. Last Tuesday, we are at the Outfitters facility in Grand Rapids, because we have our 2 plow trucks that we ordered back in July of 24 are about 4 weeks out before they're ready to hit the road. That's what would be awesome if we could get any snow or ice. However, those are just plow trucks and not salt trucks. And so I've done a lot of research into switching over to a liquid de-icer. A lot of municipalities are going to it. And the reason they're going slow is because they've invested so much in regular rock salt, because the equipment's a little bit cheaper, but they're slowly starting to put in the liquid de-icer and mixing it in with their regular rock salt. And eventually everyone's gonna start going to liquid de-icing because it's a lot cheaper and it's a lot safer for the community, a lot better for the environment. 1 teaspoon of salt contaminates 5 gallons of water. And so when all of our snow and ice melts, it goes right into the storm drains and it goes directly to the river. But this has been a practice that everybody's been doing across the country for decades. So we're at that sweet spot right now where we're looking, our salter units, the 2 are about 11 years old. They're old technology and discontinued. They operate off hydraulics. All the new ones are electric. So our equipment is slowly, it's right at that sweet spot where you either have to go one way or the other. In talking over with City Manager Terry, we're gonna start going for liquid de-icing. I can save roughly about 70% of my cost just purchasing the salt by switching to liquid de-icing. Also, with an additive, it'll be effective all the way down to about 20 degrees below zero. So from -20 all the way to 32, this stuff will still work. So it's better, that it's safer on the environment. It lasts a lot longer. We can make our own formula right in-house with the equipment that we're looking to get. And so I can also take the units that slide in the back of the trucks and transfer them to whatever truck I want. And so I'm gonna get 1 unit right now, and then I'm gonna look to get a 2nd unit later on in the year before the next season to replace and get rid of the salt as much as possible. This will be kind of like a 2-3 year plan where I'll get rid of everything completely. Other states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, their municipalities that have they have no salt whatsoever other than what to make their formula with. And they've been operating that way for over 10 years. So I just want to give you an update. I have 1 plow truck, 1 salt truck that the crew was able to get back up and running on Friday. And so I have 1 big salt truck that has a plow on the bottom. That's one of the military trucks. I have 1 orange plow truck that doesn't have anything in the back of it. I then have a smaller 1-ton pickup style dump truck that has a brand new salter on it that's a much smaller unit, but can also be used on roadways. So for right now, I can kind of limp along when it comes to de-icing. When it comes to snow removal on the big streets, I'm gonna be slow. I've only got 2 trucks out of 4. And so until I can get that 3rd dump truck back up and running, which hopefully they don't give me bad news because I had an engine failure as well. I was burning a quart of oil every 4.2 miles. And it just happened like instantly. So, okay, it's not bad, but that's not really good. So that's where we're at. 2 plow trucks out of 4. 1's a salt truck, the other one's not. So.
And the 2 trucks that we have waiting for us, those are just plow and not salt?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But with this new system, I can easily slide it in because the only wires I have to hook up are positive and negative. The rest of it, all the controls are Bluetooth that run off a smartphone or a tablet inside the truck.
So the apparatus to put the liquid,
Yep, can be switched into any truck,
but how much would that cost?
24,000. The regular salter itself is about 13 to 15,000.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director Kern. So what is in this liquid mixture?
Salt, that's the number one thing, 23% salt, the rest of it's just water. And then there's an additive that helps it go below the 10 degree mark, that lets it keep going and stay active to a -20. That's about a 90-10 ratio, so for every 90 gallons of solution, we make 10 gallons of that would be the additive with it.
You know what that additive is?
I'm not too familiar with additive yet, what it is,
Yeah.
I'm just getting there, I know it's a calcium.
Suspicious, but I would say.
I know it's a calcium based additive, but I don't know. Yeah, exactly what it is just yet. It's a liquid form.
But it's environmentally friendly and.
Correct. It's way more friendly than what we're doing now.
Some municipalities are using an additive, using organic, like beet juice.
Just don't mix it.
Something that is long lasting but still has a pH that allows that when on contact, it will interact with the ice and melt it. So beet juice, I know, has come into the picture as of late. We also use it in our, to weight our tires down in our front loader or backhoe. Just to give it that additional weight. So again, we're not going to ever add anything that's going to be long-term harmful.
Calcium, magnesium chloride. Aqueous. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's keep fingers crossed, we don't have,
Yes,
like the most stuff.
We're on focus for the next 10 days.
Yes,
Jason Meyer, before council. You just, two things that I want you to just 30 seconds brief on the heating system and some of the problems that you've encountered with this building. The
yes,
second thing is the IT system that we're looking at.
okay, the boiler system. There were several leaks throughout the whole system downstairs in the basement. I had a company go through it, and they are a very good company, and we use them quite a bit on a lot of our projects. And they ended up calling timeout and just said, look, this is gonna be way above us because the system is bigger. This is more of a industrial grade style boiler system. There's commercial, then there's like an industrial, like the size of being a school. We are right on the cusp of what would be like in a school or a large, bigger facility than just City Hall. There's also some things going on where we need to get back on a preventative maintenance program. We haven't had that in the last few years. And so we have some valves that we think are maybe sticking and not activating like they're supposed to, because there's so many offices that have, this office is cold, this office is hot as can be, this one's so. And so we've replaced several parts that were broken, but it's been chasing a ghost throughout the whole system. So tomorrow I have a company out of Battle Creek that's coming in that does large scale facilities like the VA. They're working currently on the VA, so they do all their boiler systems. They're gonna come in tomorrow or Wednesday and just go through it and fix it once and for all. We had water pouring out all over the basement floor twice. They were here on New Year's or Christmas Eve. They're there the Saturday after Christmas. It's just been a nightmare. So that's why it's a little chilly in here, so. And then the IT, we're working with different IT companies, myself and the city manager Terry, trying to find a good fit for what we're doing and try to save us some money. Our experience has been so with the current company, but we're working to try to upgrade everything as best we can.
Any questions for Director Kern?
Just want to thank you and your staff for all the hard work and adverse temperatures.
We have a great team, we truly do.
And much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
Council member comments.
Dave, we do want to address council. I'm sorry.
Just quickly here. Not a fan.
Just wanted to go over our fund balance and our change to there. And our general fund. This report will show a 5-year history. Mr. French sent me an email and wanted 3 years, but I thought I'd give him 5. So it was a little sad and that. You're welcome. So when we look at this report, I started back, I think, in 21. And this basically shows our ending year fund balance. And we want to take a look at this because we want to make sure that we have fund balance at least for 2 or 3 months of expenses in case we run into a problem. That's kind of the standard. And so when you look at this, the first number, I'm on the first column, shows the fund balance. And then the second number after that for 2021 shows the expenses for the general fund. So if we take the fund balance and divide it by the expenses, we get a percentage of our fund balance coverage for expenses. So that's well over 2 or 3 months, which is over the standard. And I also showed a number subtracting out the transfers out, because the transfers out are sometimes just a one-time thing. So it gives you an idea of what the actual expenses are for the various departments for the last number there. So that percentage goes up just a little bit higher. So when you look at 21, 22 is really the same kind of format, and 23 and 24, those are all actual numbers because they're history numbers. So those years are over and done with, but it shows what our fund balance percentage is, and they're all very positive, which is a good sign. The auditor usually wants to look for 15 to 20% coverage, but we're well over that. And then the final column, of course, is the year's just over. So I put the numbers together based on the expected amended budget that we approved for our projected numbers. And you really won't know what that's going to be maybe for another month or 2 after everything comes in for the year end. But I just wanted to kind of point out that general fund, even though we have a lot of stuff going on, and sometimes the general fund has to help out with transfers to other funds, we're still in pretty good positive position there. And I think what I'll do going forward is I will start showing, I will use this report, but I'll add one more column for every month in 2026 so we can see how we're doing month by month by month.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, this is in my mind a great barometer of our health.
Exactly.
Right, and so we knew we had a lot of expenses this year, and so my concern was, and we see a little bit of a hit. But we were so high last year, we're back in the 35 or so, 35%, and that's kind of a nice sweet spot to be. It covers that catastrophic like we did this year, right? And but then they ended our fund balance, so if we had another, like cloud trucks, we'll be able to help.
Yeah, and when you look at the budget amounts in the yellow column there, that big transfer out again was to help out the sewer fund.
Right.
For those 2 big projects, that I think one's complete, but we're still in the middle of one more, so. That was kind of a one-time thing, but we're still looking pretty good.
That's great.
That's good.
So, you're welcome.
Any questions for Director Clark?
Good job on your report.
Yes.
All right, councilmember comments. I'd just like to reiterate that I'm happy to be back in council chambers. I'm looking forward to the year of 2026, working in collaboration with all of you and all of our nonprofits that we have in the community. I anticipate we're gonna have a lot more construction going on, a lot more progress. So I'm looking forward to our 2026 together. Any other comment? No? Did anybody, I don't remember hearing from Jen.
We didn't, I just saw it on Facebook.
So, Mayor?
Yeah.
I do know that he is still out of the country.
Okay. Do I have a motion to excuse council member Stewart?
So.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned 8:18 P.M. Thank you all for coming.